All right. Welcome to the Indie Corner, where we talk about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey. Yeah, there we go. There's the awkward silence.
I'm sorry. I started thinking of something really funny. I'm sorry. I'm Taylor.
I'm Emily.
I'm Hanna.
And today we are doing our Indie Corner Halloween spooky special thing. I don't know what we're doing, like spooky special, because it's spooky season.
It's a Halloween special on our podcast.
Yeah, it's a Halloween special on our podcast.
Who knows? Maybe we'll continue it for like all holidays, and we'll have like a Easter special.
I've kind of had one. I kind of had a book I wanted to do for a Christmas one. To be honest with you.
I mean, Christmas. Yeah, we could do a Christmas special.
Right.
Yeah, a Jewish special, a Hanukkah special, a Kwanzaa special. Okay, I'm sorry.
Like, okay, but
anyway. You don't know.
Anyway, since this is a horror Halloween special, we're doing a horror indie comic this time, and we're discussing and talking about Wytches by Scott Snyder and art by Jock. And
yes, Scott Snyder.
Yes, who's known for his New 52 Batman run, as well as American Vampire. Yeah.
I don't know. I really know him for his really cool Spider-Man run.
Scott Snyder?
I'm thinking of Zack Snyder.
Not Zack. No. Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder, not Zack Snyder. He did like Court of the Owls with Batman and like all the other cool stuff. He did like American Vampire, and he did this. He's also known for Wytches.
It's not Zack Snyder either. Zack Snyder's
the film director.
I don't know
who you're talking about. Nick Spencer. Oh my god.
Not Nick Spencer. Scott Snyder.
My mind really went Snyder, Spencer, Nick, Zach, Scott, Whiteman. And it was
like yeah, but we're doing Wytches by Scott Snyder and art by Jock. I'm a huge fan of Jock's art, so I really liked this book when it comes to his art. His art is fucking interesting. It's great, but it's interesting.
Very splattery.
Yeah, he's very good. Like, I've seen his work when it comes to like Green Arrow Year One and like The Losers, but like I've never like when it comes to horror, he takes an interesting take on the inks and like all the other cool stuff and the colors. Well, Willing Hollingsworth does the colors, but it's very interesting looking. So yeah, we're gonna do it's issues 1 through 6. And yeah, after we're all done, I'm gonna explain a very interesting backstory of how he was inspired to create this book, and that's gonna be interesting. But so who's got issue 1? Taylor, you got issue 1.
Me. I promise I won't mix anything up this time.
Okay, it's fine.
I really did that. Anyway, okay, so issue 1, we have it open up with this scene. Little boy, I think he's a little boy. Yeah, little boy. Looks like he's battling off these weird, grotesque people. It's very short, just like, kind of one page. That's about it. So you don't really get much from anything from it. So then it moves on, whatever, and we kind of get this nice homey scene. And so what you can take away from this is that it looks like this girl, Sailor Rook, has now moved to a new town, new school with her family. She looks a bit bummed down about it, but whatever. So she's at this new school, new place, and she's introduced to this new class, new friends and everything. And there's this one particular part that I want to talk about in here real quick. Emily's already laughing. Okay, so she's introduced to this new scene, new place and everything. And there's this girl who is like, I'm going to warn you about this teacher because he's known as a dick brusher. And at first I was like, because I'm stupid, I was like, he brushes dicks? But that's not what that meant at all. Apparently it means that like if like female students get too close to him, like he'll brush his dick against them. And I don't know about y'all, but I was like, that's horrible.
I feel like every school had one of those teachers.
No, that's true.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I feel like he definitely should have got 8, but it's fine, but whatever. And then later after that scene, this girl asked Sailor if she killed this girl. And we kind of get this weird, like, oh, what the fuck you mean? And then it cuts to another, like, this flashback scene where she's with this bully of hers named Annie. Pretty vicious bully. Pretty fucked up human being. But
she got issues.
She got mad issues. She got really mad issues. Threatening to kill her and everything. Like, she pulls out a gun and shit. Like, you know.
But Taylor pulls out a knife. She's like, yo, you're not gonna fuck with me.
Yeah, well, Sailor pulls out a knife and is like, I'm not gonna take your shit. But then Annie pulls out a gun, and I was like, well, if you bring a knife to a gunfight, like, you know who's gonna win. So that happens, and Annie is like, do this shit or I'm gonna shoot you. And so she's in the process. Well, it's like she's like.
It's like she wants her to take the handle of the knife and like.
She wants her to take the handle of the knife and masturbate with it while she videos it so she can upload it to public. And she's like, do it or I'll kill you and your family or whatever. I don't care. And, you know, really fucked up individual. And so Sailor's in the middle of doing it when this tree behind her, I think it's a tree. At least that's what it looks like. It's a tree. Okay. Yeah. This tree behind her like opens up and these hands come out and grab Annie and basically fold this girl like heavy in half. Like she's fucking donezo. And but wait a minute. But like this girl also has the audacity to ask for help. Like she didn't just threaten this girl's life. Like if I saw that after you just threatened my life, I would have been like, no, bye. Like it's good. You got it. Yeah, like take her. She's good. And like that happened. She's eaten by this tree. She's gone. Blood everywhere. Sailor screaming. And then it cuts to another scene that makes no sense to me. Mikey, you can help it out. But it's a scene and it's from Sailor screaming and it cuts to a scene. The screaming is like still continuing and it's just this deer. Yeah. And this deer just bites off its own tongue.
Because before what happened before the scene that Taylor mentioned, Charlie Rook, who's the dad, and I don't remember the mom's name, but they're just talking. Is it Lucy?
Lucy.
Yeah, they're just talking. Because Charlie's a book author, he writes children's books, and they're just talking, and then a deer just shows up in their house, like acting all fucking crazy. Like it is. I don't know if like the door was fucking open, but like he just walks in like he's like he's fucking like noise. And then like after like Sailor screams in that flashback, it cuts back to like the deer screaming. It just bites his own fucking tongue off, which I'm just like, what the? Like
it's so weird. It's such a weird cutback, and like it's a weird back and forth. And I was so confused about it the first time I read it. I was like.
And then it never gets addressed again.
And then I was like, what is happening?
I just want to say real quick, the scene that happened kind of like talked about but brushed over it. Like it's a flashback to 1919 with this family or whatever. And like the kid that she mentions finds his mother in a hollow of a tree. And the hollow is like, where like
mom?
It's the hollow like where like owls are fucking at or you see in trees. And then she's like, son, try to get like, please help me, get me out of here. He's like, okay, mom, I'll help you. He takes the rock. He gets a rock, try to like free her from the fucking hollow. But instead smashes her head in and just says, pledge, just pledge, and just walks away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we'll get into the pledge thing in a moment. Word. But anyway, cut back to deer, cut off his own tongue, because I don't know, that was really funny to me. And then after that scene, it cuts to nighttime in the house. Seems like we're back in the present with Sailor, and she seems like she's pretty beat up about Annie disappearing, although I don't know why she would be. I wouldn't be, but like I guess that's traumatizing for a child or whatever, but anyway, girl needs to move on. But she seems a little bit upset about it. And then I don't know, it kind of just cuts down to her dad, like to the dad leaving, going to talk to the mom, who we see is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's an important thing for later.
And I just want to say that like Sailor is shown to like, I think it's mentioned in this issue, I think, but like she has very bad anxiety. She suffers from anxiety and her dad doesn't really know how to cope with that. He doesn't understand it very well and he's very brushed off by it. So like when he's
What
saying, "Oh, like,
do.
yeah." So he's like, "Oh, like, I think I killed Annie." Blah blah. I was like, "No, you didn't." But she's being anxious, and she doesn't. She's just saying things out of like her anxiety. But he's like, "Nah, shut up."
And also it doesn't help too that she thinks that she killed Annie because after the whole incident had happened and Annie had gone missing, the reason that they moved was because there was a lot of rumors being spread about her around her school saying that she did kill Annie. And as a child, when you keep repeating those things and saying that to a child who has severe anxiety, they're going to start believing it.
Yeah.
And so that's why she's so bent up about Annie, because then she starts to believe that she did kill her and she really didn't.
But Charlie's trying to be like, wait, no, like we found you, like I think you hallucinated the whole thing, explain the whole monster that happened, that found you passed out. You had like that girl caved your head in with a rock or something, and like so that's what it supposedly happened with her, but it's unclear. But
unclear.
All right.
I mean, not really, but kind of. But that's fine.
Not right
anyway, and with Dad talking to the mom, mom asked Dad what they're gonna do with the studio. Was it ever said what their studio was, or is that not?
No, I think I'm not sure. I think it's maybe his
It's a normal mom and dad conversation. It seems like, but mom is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
In the backy there, and then that's just the end of issue 1.
Nah.
What?
You missed something.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Literally one of the biggest things.
Yeah, you literally missed the ending.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. No, that's my fault. There was an ad, and I was like, "Oh wait, that's the end." Oh yeah, we cut to this weird bitch. Well, I don't like her. She's really scary looking. There's a really, really, really weird thing. Sailor's up in her room sleeping, and she hears like this hissing, I guess you could say, outside her window. And there's like this really ugly thing just like in this tree outside her window, and I'm not a fan of it. Sailor, of course, screams. Parents come up, and then there's these, I think it's teeth.
Holy shit! I didn't notice this. I forgot about this weird bitch. Oh shit! I didn't notice that she was in this issue.
The bald one?
I thought she was gonna come up with.
Wait, who, Clara?
But
are you talking about the bald lady?
Yeah, Clara.
Yeah, I didn't see her when I read it.
She's touching the teeth. Okay. There's teeth. That's where it ends. Is her screaming, and then the parents running up, and then it cuts to Clara outside with these teeth on the ground, and then the dad is like, "Oh my god!" And then it says "to be continued."
So thoughts?
Wait. Also, but the thing, I didn't read it all. But at the end of issue 1, they have like that extra little reading page or whatever. Not really, but it's just like has like a bunch of shit or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say for the end. I'm gonna say that for the end of the book.
No, I'm not gonna talk about it. I just want to say like the whole thing, like who the first thing where it says like who would you pledge?
Oh yeah.
Oh, word.
And I think that's such an asshole question.
What do you mean?
Well, you know what happens when you pledge somebody and they're like, so like if you could do it, who would you do? And it's like, what?
No, you can't tell me that there isn't at least one person that you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd pledge them.
Probably.
Like, someone and you could drink all of the apple juice you wanted to your heart's content.
Yeah. But our audience doesn't know what pledging is yet, but we'll get into that later. But thoughts on issue 1, people?
I thought
it was what I was expecting.
Yeah, I thought it made a nice like setup of the tone of the comic.
Yeah. It's
I thought it was good, but again, like wasn't really what I was expecting, because like I don't know what I was expecting. Well, when I saw like it was called Wytches, there's like 1,000,001 things you could do with a witch because their history is balls off the wall long as shit. So you can take any adaptation of a witch and put it into any type of media, and it's going to be different every time. So I wasn't exactly sure which era of witches we were doing.
Yeah.
But when you read throughout the whole book, it's like his own. It's a mix of like taking the legends of witches and like doing his own spin on it, and it's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's very very ancient witches and ancient witchcraft, where like it was like witches are these really, really freaky, deaky, weird things that have these insane
Freaky,
powers.
weird things.
They are, and that's like ancient like, witches and shit. And then later on, that's like when you get to like because even in the comic, he says like, well, oh wait, no, this is for issue 2, but
Yeah. Well,
like they explain like what they're not, and like that's like a later history of witches. So you kind of realize that he's taking inspiration from the ancient times.
word. All right. So, Hanna, you got issue 2.
Yep. So basically, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Basically, she starts bleeding from her neck. Sailor just gushing blood from her neck. And you're like, oh god, this is disgusting. So bad. And I mean, it's kind of weird. It kind of goes back and forth with was it Charlie and his brother Reg talking about her, like, you know, they're
Are they
concerned.
brothers? I thought they were friends.
I thought they were brothers.
She
Pretty
calls,
sure.
calls him Uncle Reg, but it's never said if it's a brother uncle or like a really close family friend uncle.
But
yeah,
because I remember in the last issue, he was the one talking to. I think he's his what's it called? Not agent, but like
publisher.
Oh yeah.
About they were talking about the book together.
Manager.
Manager.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So it kind of goes back and forth between that, but it turns out that she has a lump on her neck, and they're not really sure, like, what it is. You know, like, it's obviously from, like, the witches and stuff. And the swimming scene, they are, like, in swim class or something. When I first read this, I was so concerned. If you have, like, a bandage like that, you shouldn't be in water. And I was just thinking the entire time, like, that's bad.
That's an open wound, bro.
Yeah, it's an open wound. Your neck was just open. It was disgusting. She makes a new friend. Her name is Melina. I really thought they were going to be lesbian lovers, but at least I was hoping
should
for
have
that.
been.
They really should have. Been
They
great.
set her up, honestly. She had the bi look.
And he sort of called her gay, and I can never tell if it's like supposed to be just an insult. It's like she's actually gay. It's like, give me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it kind of goes to the mom, Lucy, and she's a nurse, and she's like talking to the patients, and I guess I kind of assumed that they might have been like involved with witches or something. I couldn't really tell if it was or something because his eyes were all red and stuff like that. Like he gave symptoms that like something was up, and it wasn't just like a regular accident.
Yeah.
What was next? Oh yeah, so she gets like it pans back to the swim class. This was so confusing. It goes back and forth like the entire time. And she gets out of the water and she just like bolts out of class, like out of the high school, and she steals a bus, which is kind of crazy. And this entire time, like her neck, like the wound kind of opens again. It's like, you know, it seemed like it was burning or like open again. It was not fun to look at. And they get like the parents get a call saying like, oh, like your daughter like stole a bus or something. And like, yo, can I just say, I don't know if you can like see if I hold up the thing, but the shot of Reg on the motorcycle is so cool. He has like the motorcycle, he has sunglasses. It's like he takes it off. He takes off like slow-mo. It's so cool.
No, it's
and
dope.
He kind of like goes after her. Because
he conveniently finds her. He conveniently is driving to the forest.
Yeah. It's like perfect timing. And they end up in the woods because she's like going out trying to find them, whatever. And essentially they come in contact with like multiple of them, and they kind of get like, I guess, surrounded. I don't know how to explain it. So it still kind of goes back and forth because then it pans to Charlie and this mystery woman whose name is Claire that we find out later kind of like breaks in and like pins him down. She's wearing like an open flannel and titties are out. It's not good. It's saggy. It's so saggy.
I was not expecting titties in this. I was like, oh my god, titties.
Yeah, honestly. And then it pans back again to Reg and Sailor, and they get attacked. And I guess you can just assume that they go missing, essentially. And then it pans back again to Claire and Charlie, and she like blows this like magic powder or something that you don't really know what it is.
Cocaine. It's red cocaine.
Yeah, red cocaine. I would believe it. I would believe
red
it. And that's kind of like end of chapter 2. Really.
You're about to get high as fuck. It's like,
honestly, that's what it is.
What's it called? I'm gonna say something real quick because you gloss over like some things as like I like in the beginning because it's a conversation between Reg and Charlie, and they're installing the chairlift for Lucy.
Mm.
And
yeah.
And Reg is basically talking to Charlie like, this is a great house, like good place, like, you know, this is a good opportunity for you and like Lucy and Sailor, blah blah blah. And it's like, and he says that something like, I'm glad you're doing okay, like implying that like there was someone up with him before they moved, like so like you know, like maybe like a little maybe a problem or something. And yeah,
I have a problem too if my daughter was being accused as a murderer.
Yeah. I mean, like a personal problem with him. Like,
yeah, I know, Michael. It's called
okay. But like also when she's swimming, like before she jumps in the pool, she like when she takes off her glasses, she can see a witch like in like through like a window of like her school, like in like the trees. Like
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You can like right before she dives in, she looks out the window ahead of her, and it's that same thing that was like in her tree.
Yeah, and the thing is like
ghost.
Yeah, and the thing is like it kind of looks like the witch kind of looks like Annie in a way. Like especially in the last issue when you could see her on the tree, like she's kind of like wearing Annie's clothes, and it's like kind of interesting.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but like
that's so cool.
Word. And then
I love details.
Like the stuff with Lucy, exactly, and the stuff with Lucy in the hospital, I think is really cool because like the boy said he wasn't like the other nurse that occupies her because Lucy thinks she's dead weight because she can't move, she can't walk, and she doesn't feel like she can't like she's used to doing heavy lifting, but the nurse is like, oh no, like you're still a good help to the hospital, trying to cheer her up, and it's kind of sad. But like the boys just listening, just chilling there, just like, oh yeah. And he's like, you know, he had an accident or something, but then like he wakes up out of nowhere and is like, there's something familiar about you. It looks like you kind of smells like you. It looks like you pledged someone, didn't you? And then she's just like, what the fuck is this kid talking about? This kid needs to fucking go to sleep. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, and also like the IV, they say like she just filled the IV, but then the one that the IV that the bag's connected right now is like looks like it's fresh and like it's a different color, so it's like something's happening with this kid or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting, but like also when she's in the pool, Sailor like just flashes. She's seeing flashes of like the woods and like witches. Yeah. Like she feels like she's being drawn there. You know,
which and then, by the way, not talking about like the writing part, but like the art in this page, like of like her being in the water and the woods is super cool. So
it's so
blended
dope.
Very, very nicely, like with the splattering and everything, and the colors like mixed with the trees and the water is super dope.
Splattering almost looks like blood, and that's like really cool for this page, especially.
Yeah,
it's like it's funny because it's like such like an anonymous page, but it has very, very pretty colors.
Yeah,
nice contrast. I like it a lot. It was a very nice page to look at.
Word. Jock kills this shit. Like I love that page specifically. It's so nice, and like just the inks are so well done, and like. But then, like, her wound turns into an eye, which is, like, really fucking disgusting. It's so gross. And it's just like, what? And, like, that's what freaks her out, that she gets out of the pool. She's like, what the fuck? Like, like, this is just no. And it's just, and then, like, yeah, so, like, it's implying that she's being drawn to the woods by something, but she doesn't know. And then it turns out it's the witches, like what Hanna said, when, like, Reggie and her get fucking, like, cornered and shit by them. But... Yeah. There are also flashbacks of the mom.
You learn about her accident a little bit.
Talk about her accident, and like she said that she hit a deer, that's what happened. Like that's what she said she saw. Like what she hit a deer, and that's what caused her accident. But
that's
like,
why that deer came into their house.
You killed my brother.
Yeah,
it
was like, where's my
You killed my brother, so I'm gonna bite my own tongue off on a spike for you. And yeah, but she was scared by something that maybe wasn't a deer. Michael Jordan shrug.
What?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing I say. Hanna gets it.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked issue 2. Issue 2 is more cooking. You know, it's more seasoning.
Issue 2 was more cooking, but I did go down a bit in issue 2.
Yeah.
I was hoping it picked up a little bit more in issue 3 because I still liked issue 1 more than I did issue 2.
Okay, that's fair. Anyone else have any other thoughts? Hanna, of issue dose?
Honestly, when I first saw the Wytches, they kind of look like the Wendigos, if you know what that is.
No, I thought the same thing, especially
yeah,
concept art. Like it really reminds me of Wendigos.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh, like from like Until Dawn, like those Wendigo. Like,
yeah,
got it.
Or just like any like typical like picture. Yeah.
I mean, it also sets up this weird It also sets up this weird bald bitch, whoever the hell she is. I don't know. Right on top of Charlie giving him red cocaine. So.
Cocaine. Hey, sounds like a fun time.
Sounds like a fun time. They're getting fucked up in the next page, in the next issue.
Yeah.
It's pixie sticks.
It's pixie sticks.
That's pretty good.
I like Taylor's red cocaine.
We're aware. So you want to talk about issue 3, Hanna?
Yeah, word.
Cool.
To be honest, in the beginning they're like on a playground type thing, like a big like I don't know what you call them, like stuff you like climb through.
Jungle
like,
gyms.
Yeah, like jungle gyms.
Yeah.
And they're I guess the whole time like Charlie's kind of like giving like a life lesson and just like
this is a flashback, by the way, people like audience.
Oh yeah, this is a flashback.
This is Taylor's a child when like more younger when in this one.
They're just like playing, spending time with her. It's kind of weird though that he brought a match. He brought a match onto a plate. That's so unsafe and not a good idea, especially in a closed area. I don't know why he did that. It's not even that dark in there anyway.
Especially at a
apocalypse.
Especially at a fucking McDonald's play place, just bringing
McDonald's.
Yeah, like you can still see where you're going. I thought that was kind of, I don't know what he was trying to do there.
No, the thing is like what he was trying to do, because like the way he and Taylor like they have a really interesting world relationship. They love to clearly like Charlie's a writer and like she likes fantasy, so they like to cope with her anxiety. They talk about like talk about like what magical creatures or monsters you want to like hunt down and how would you fight them. And I think it's very cute. Like
yeah, that is pretty cute. I like that.
Yeah. So that's what he's talking about here.
Just a bunch of nerds. I was thinking of like Lord of the Rings the entire time. Anytime he like talks about stuff like that.
Yeah. Like in the first issue when he's just like, oh, so like a hippogriffin. How would you fight this? How would you kill this person? He's like, and he's like, with dynamite. And he's like, up, like just stick dynamite. He's like, up their butts? No, in their mouths, Dad.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. It's so cute.
I do remember that scene. Yeah.
That's funny. And then,
there's a thing in that about I think issue 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
They can finish that later. But then it kind of pans to present day, and Charlie and Lucy, they're there on the scene. There's a police officer. They're shouting their names, trying to call out to find them. Charlie definitely seems to be, freaking out a lot, more so than Lucy, I would imagine. And then it pans back again to the interaction with Charlie and Clara, and you kind of see like she's like explaining kind of like backstory of the whole thing of like kind of giving insight to like what happened to Sailor and like how they can find her. And this is honestly, I'm pretty good at horror and I love spooky things, but like this was so disgusting. She, I guess, was like trying to protect him, but like you kind of really didn't know that at the time. But she takes a syringe from her nipple, and I guess it's her blood or her milk or something, and injects it into Charlie. It's
Like she like
disgusting.
stabbed him with it. It's gross.
It's so disgusting. It's her boobs just flying out everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
thing is, like,
it's the needle like directly as she's holding her boob. It's like the needle on the nipple that made me cringe. Because like I'm also pretty okay with gore and stuff, usually on men, because like I don't have those parts. And so like, but like when I see it like on a woman and they're specifically about like their boobs, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
but
not even to like.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Not even to like get sciencey about it, but boobs are just balls of fat. You can't really take anything from there except maybe milk if you're breastfeeding. But other than that, it's just fat. I don't know what's there.
I just want to say real quick that like she's explaining to Charlie that like she's like, you said like you never had a daughter. That's what she said in the last issue when she blew the red cocaine in his face. Then she was just saying like, oh, like they're taking your daughter, and it's like, who's taking my daughter? The witches are taking your daughter. What do you mean? Come on, do the program. Like, what's happening?
She's saying all this as she's like stabbing her tits and stabbing him. I was like, oh god.
And just like, and he's like saying like, oh, thank God that they didn't actually make you forget yet, because they're gonna make you forget about her. So like, you know, don't worry, we're gonna meet up and stabby stab, and then yeah,
really a
fun time. I really like though on like the one page when he does get stabbed, you can really see like the pain in the expression to like that
word.
Yeah. Then it pans back again to them, you know, trying to find them in the woods, and there's like this weird like panel whatever of like a mouth within a, I guess like a hollow of a tree, just like calling out to Charlie. Kind of disgusting. If I may add. What?
No, I just like that image that.
Oh yeah, it's really bad.
That made me laugh when I was reading it because it was just so weird.
Really weird. It's like two things that should never like go together. But I really like the next page after. It kind of like reminds me of like in the beginning, like with the kid and the mother bashing with the rock, and it's like the same motion when he picked it up. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess like it kind of like goes away by the time the cop comes, I'm pretty sure. So the cop's like, "Oh, you're crazy."
Yeah, like he tries to free. Yeah, like he tries to free him. Like, cause it's Reggie in the fucking tree, and he's like, "Help me!" He grabs the rock, and then like, tries to like bash it, but then the cop's like, "Hold on, what the fuck you doing?" Like, bro, you good, bro? Like, what's happening here? And there's nothing in the fucking tree. Like, it's gone. Reggie's gone. Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I should say this now or wait, but like that's like the last you see of him, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. He doesn't come back.
They don't care. Like they don't ask at all. It's just like I feel bad. But and then I love this page. It was like a page of like a diary, that like a diary of a sailor, and it's just like her thoughts, and it's like so interesting because it's like it's so upsetting to think of all the trauma that she's been through that like she really prays that her lump that she had was like a tumor. Like that's like so upsetting. That kind of hit. I don't know why.
Than anything else,
and I think that's so
insane.
Yeah. Also, the cop told them what's his name. What's the cop's name? Mr. Officer Petal.
Yeah, Officer Petal.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, listen. When kids run away, they always just go back home immediately. So just go the hell home. And if she's not there, it's fine. Well, we're gonna still look.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I want to find my daughter. And it's just
What happens next? So basically, they go home, and it was kind of interesting the conversation between Charlie and Lise. Like, she kept saying like, "Don't leave me, like, don't leave me alone." She was like really adamant about like saying that to Charlie, and it's like, oh, like, what does she mean by that? So there's definitely some backstory there. But then it pans again to the flashback of this part kind of confused me or something. Like, I guess like when back to the jungle gym, like did Sailor like get lost in there or something? Or she got like stuck?
No, she got lost.
She got lost. How do you get lost in it? You gotta be kind of stupid if you like.
They say it's dark as shit in there. That's why there was a match. Like that's why we had a match.
That's not true.
That's not true at all. There's multiple windows, and they have to have air holes in there.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Like, we're like hamsters, and you have to have air holes in there. And there's always going to be a shed of light. So no, I agree with Hannah. You have to be a pretty dumb child to get stuck one of these McDonald's playthings.
I don't know. Maybe she's like claustrophobic or something. Because I see here like she starts to panic and like and she has anxiety on top of that. So like.
Yeah.
It looks like I could see that being an explanation because it looks like she's panicking like through a window, like the ones that they have so you can see out there. And so it looks like she can see or whatever. So she's not really panicking about getting out. She's just panicking that she's in there in the first place.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I
Charlie,
guess that definitely makes more sense.
And like Charlie's like talking with Lucy like, like I understand she has this anxiety, I get it, but like what if we did something different, like blah blah blah, like how did she end up this way, all that other stuff, like he's questioning it, and it's like
he's very anti-mental illness. Very anti-mental health. Oh, okay. So it kind of pans back again present day. And I thought this was really cool of like how they drew this. Like
I hate it. It scares me so much.
Yeah, Claire like communicates with Charlie through his stomach, through veins.
Yeah. Like the thing she's like the wound that she stabbed him with it turns into like a veining platter that like a veiny like pattern that says here on it. I'm just like, oh god, no. Like
the first time I saw it, I didn't see here. I read like heh heh, like a laugh. And I was like, what are you laughing about? I was like, that's so weird.
Yeah,
but then when I kept staring at it, I was like, oh, it says here. I was like, that makes more sense.
I remember I was watching Comic Pop do this book. That's how I knew about it. And like one of the guys when Tiffany was like here, like Ben, who's one of the guys, he thought she meant here, like in his stomach. That's where Clara was.
Like, I was like,
he was just like, no. It was just so funny. Like,
it is a cool splash page though. I like the color.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's really cool.
I like how it also immediately goes to like, oh, it's a map.
Yeah, like
I would never have thought of that if that happened to me. I would not understand.
Wait, is the pattern in the form of like the map? I never actually didn't. I thought it was just like it just said the letters. I didn't think it was an actual like it matched the pattern of like the map.
It's similar.
It's similar.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's intentional, but I mean it's smart if it's intentional.
Yeah. But at least a place called Here Point, which I never would have guessed, to be honest. I wonder if these like real
I
locations?
wouldn't have guessed that either. Like if you say here, I'm gonna be like, oh, here?
It's like
behind me? Right here? Yeah. She's I don't know if these are real locations. Actually, do they mention where the town is or no? I don't.
Yeah,
I think is it Oregon?
No, it's New Hampshire.
New Hampshire? Okay. Got it.
Yeah, because it's NH.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up right now if it's like actually like a real place.
Yeah. All the places I'm pretty sure are real except maybe Here Point.
It's Litchfield, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that sound real?
That sounds real.
Yes, it's real.
Here Point is real?
Litchfield, New Hampshire is real.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I don't know.
Here Point.
I don't think it's real.
I don't think. No, it's not.
No, I tried looking up. I didn't see anything. But,
yeah, because like right next to it says Globe Cove, and I'm like, that sounds fake.
Yeah.
Here Point, I think I can believe, but not Globe
But
Cove.
Litchfield is real. So.
Okay, word.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that. And then the last page of issue 3 is just Sailor just literally just being in hell, just yelling for her dad for help. She's being grabbed by a witch. Doesn't look like a good time. I wouldn't recommend. Not a fan.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
Nope.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 not recommend.
Nope. But yeah, that's it.
Any thoughts on issue?
That's all, folks.
Issue 4. That's all, folks.
Issue 3.
Issue 3. My fault. Sorry. Any thoughts? No thoughts? I think it's cool. It's good. Good stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah. That here shit. That shit. I hate looking at that. It's disgusting. I hate it.
I don't like the city scene.
Yeah.
I love it. I want like a print of that here page. Like I think it's so cool looking.
It's cool, but like also, did she do something else? Because like, what's this weird bulb that he has here? Like in this center, like okay, look at the here on the bottom, and then put your eye gaze a little bit up. It looks like he has like this weird like I don't know. It kind of looks like an enlarged nipple.
That's because it is his nipple.
Taylor, that's called a dad bod.
Is it?
I was gonna put his nipples up here, and then it's like his abs and stuff.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Large
Ew,
nipple.
ew, that looks disgusting. Why is
body
it
shame him?
Yeah, all
Don't
body
body shame him.
Charlie.
I'm talking. Ew! It looks long. His nipple literally looks long.
Your nipple's long.
I'm still wondering if you're looking in the right place. Like I'm still wondering if you're looking in the right spot.
I am. I found it now. I see it. I see it more clearly. So now I can see that it does look like a nipple. Yeah. But it's the shading. The shading is a little bit off for me. That's why it threw me off. Yeah, but I don't like the way his nipple is drawn. I like the page as a whole, but his nipple is really ugly.
Yeah, it's definitely an eyesore.
I think this issue is pretty dope. I like it a lot. I like the juxtaposition with the flashbacks, getting more insight on like how Charlie is as a father, like raising Sailor, because he obviously couldn't like understand. Unlike her mom, didn't understand the anxiety. He just wasn't getting it. And I mean, I also like the whole.
Doesn't seem to care.
Who, the mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I guess, but I mean, like in the whole we're getting more insight on like what the fuck happened with Charlie, that like his mother is, and also like Sailor, that we'll find out later on, it has a problem with. And like the witches are cool. R.I.P. to Reggie, because his ass not coming back. I mean, audience, he's not coming back. But
do you think they maybe forgot about him?
What do you mean?
Like,
no, definitely.
No, I meant like actually, because it's like.
Oh, I mean
like how Claire was like, oh, like you'll forget, like they're trying to make you forget, like Sailor, blah blah blah.
Probably.
Oh.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah. That's kind of sad.
That is very sad.
Yeah, and we're gonna get Claire is just weird. And that's
she's weird, but she's like kind of a badass.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like the whole like the titty thing's weird, but like I respect it.
I respect it. But and also like the cop, I mean ACAB, but like the cops seem a little sus. I don't know. Cops always be sus, but like when I read this, I found it very strange that like, oh, just go home, like immediately. Like there's like immediately just went from let's find her to let's just go home. I was like, I thought you wanted him to stay a little longer, you know.
Also, this splash page here, the one in the middle of them in the little playground before it cuts to them in the forest, that little monster that shouts Sailor's name. Yeah. Super dope.
Oh no, it's very so cool. Like, I mean, Taylor and I are art majors, but like it's very chiaroscuro, like, you know.
I don't know what that means.
Not really though.
Not really. Okay.
Well, chiaroscuro is more simply charcoal.
Yeah, I'm just saying when it comes to like shadow, you know, like
I can see what you mean in that sense. Yeah, I really like the splattering again, because there's a lot of splattering going on in this comic in general. But like I like the dark colors, how you said like the chiaroscuro, and then it's the really just bright little orbs.
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 All right. Wait, Hannah, what were you gonna say?
I forget.
Are you sure? Okay. I like this issue. We're getting more. It's more seasoning, more cooking.
It's simmering.
Oh, it's simmering at this point. It hasn't cooked just yet, but it's simmering.
It's simmering.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk about issue 4. So issue 4 starts with a flashback of it's in 2011. And essentially like Charlie's on this Charlie and Sailor in an abandoned amusement park, and Charlie's just on like on the Ferris wheel, just like fucking chilling there. And Sailor's just like, Dad, what the fuck are you doing? Like, talk to me. Get the fuck down there, please. Thank you. Then it cuts back to Charlie looking at that disgusting veiny hair pattern, but it starts to fade away. And so when he goes down to show his wife, he's like, Mom, look at this hair on my chest. Oh God, look at it. And it's just like, he's just freaking out. it disappears, and she sees it's just as a weird veiny pattern. I see it like all the time when like when patients come in with bruises and stuff. It's just like your blood, like your veins just showing. And he's just like, nah, there's something there. Like, come on now. Yeah. And then literally like, but then he starts talking to his wife saying that, oh, like the woman that I was talking about earlier, like I feel like she has something to do with this. I think she took Sailor. Like, so I'm gonna go to your point. I'm gonna find out what the fuck's happening with this bitch. And I'm gonna see. Okay. And so then he leaves. And then but when he's about to leave, like there was a cut on his on his head. So okay, probably before you go, let me wipe this off real quick. So it's wiping it off. This will become important later. And then he is ready to go out and go to Here Point to confront this mystery woman. It transitions to Sailor, and I love these panels because like the thing is that the way Jock does the art, it's not like he basically just says fuck panels and just has like the images just stack and like fold on top of each other, and it's very interesting.
He does like very, very large full splash pages.
Yeah, but like it just has the characters in like different like positions and like composition, so it looks like it's time passing, and it's so cool. But Taylor's in this dark area. She doesn't know where the fuck she is. And conveniently, she has matches on her because when the last issue, her dad was always like, always have matches on you because that's the first rule of the zombie apocalypse. Matches are important. The Girl Scouts suck. And she
Girl Scouts suck.
He literally said, "It's like, why are you taking you to the Girl Scouts when like they don't even tell you about carrying matches?" That's what he says to his wife. And his wife's just like, "Cause it's free, babe. That's why we take her."
He's like, why are we paying for this? And he's like, it's free.
It's free. We're not paying for her to go to the Girl Scouts. Anyway, so she takes a match from with her dad's advice, and she lights it, and she is in this weird cave, and she's laying on top of a variety of children's clothes. So she's clearly at the Goodwill. Yeah, but it's just it's a bunch of just like old, like grimy, like clothes, and it's very spooky. So then it transitions back to Charlie. Charlie is at Here Point in this wrecked like house, I believe. It's like this wrecked house where he is discovered by, and he's seeing all these weird incense and like this rat in a bowl, and he's like, what the fuck? And then turns out Clara's there. It's like, oh, you made it. Also, Clara has no legs. I don't know if we discussed this, but like she has no legs. She has prosthetic legs. And essentially she's like, you made it, and she points a gun at him, and she basically is like, okay, take this rope. You need to make a noose for me. Do that shit. And he's just like, what the fuck? Like, why do you want me to make a noose? You're crazy. And he's like, she's like, hang it up, hang it high. He's like, and basically like it transitions back to the flashback with Charlie on the Ferris wheel, and she's just saying like, oh, like back in my day, me and your Uncle Reggie used to climb this fucking Ferris wheel, and like, well, if you climbed all the way to the top, you write your name on the fucking on one of the seats. It's like a rite of passage. Taylor, I want you to fucking do this shit. Come on. I know you have your anxiety and stuff, but you gotta toughen up for me. Come on now. You're gonna feel great after this. I promise.
Isn't he?
He's drunk as shit. Yeah, he's on the sauce. Implying so essentially like Charlie was an alcoholic, and that was the whole issue, that like why his wife was saying like, don't leave me, like all that stuff. And like even the cop was being a little hesitant with him in the last issue because like he knows their history, because I'm assuming he asked the wife or something like he was an alcoholic, a former alcoholic. So essentially, like he's like, come on, don't be nervous, kid. Get up on here. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna feel great after you do it. Don't worry. But like Taylor's scared out of her mind. It's like, Dad, please come down. Like I don't want to do this. And then he's just like, and then it transitions back to Sailor. Sailor at the local Goodwill is realizing that there's kids' clothes. Holy shit! Then she cuts her hand on like a piece, like a rock or whatever, and then essentially it transitions back to Clara and Charlie. Charlie's tying up the noose, and while she's doing it, Clara's explaining like what the fuck is happening, like what's the deal with Sailor, and giving Charlie backstory on like the witches. And I love this scene a lot. All this explanation is so fucking cool. and I'm gonna try my best to like do this as quickly as possible because there's a lot of stuff she talks about. But essentially, he was saying, okay, you know what? There's these things out there. The witches, they're the ones that took your daughter. And essentially, Carly's like, nah, they're people. Like witches are people. They're not like they're not monsters. Like you don't expect me to go out like and fucking go after like they're just people. I can just talk to them. Like, nah, they're not fucking people, you idiot. The fuck's wrong with you? We don't know where the fuck they came from. They may have been a mutation from like 1,000 years ago that like branched off and like had their own sort of evolution. And they're like 10 feet tall, and like she throws, and she's like and she's basically like saying like they're above us, like on the food chain. Like that's how evolved they are. And essentially she takes a sack, throws it. It's really big, this fucking huge witch skull, and it's basically like he holds it with both. He has to hold it with both hands. Like that's how fucking huge it is. And it basically like all their like it looks like the skull, like their eyes. Witches have both their eyes on one side, and it's like
isn't there they're olive flounders?
What?
Flounders?
Yeah,
the eyes on one side.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You think that if they're higher evolution than us, that wouldn't be the case?
Well, it's not like a higher evolution. It's like an off branch mutation that like just.
Yeah, but this is also the issue that I was referring to when I said you can see his inspiration in when he took which era of witches he was going to talk about. Because here's like she was saying that they're not the green skinned people and they're not devil worshippers, and like this inspiration came from like way before those were any of the like key things to being a witch.
Yeah.
So then she, while going through more of this explanation, she says like, oh, like those things are telling me those things like my daughter. He's like, yeah, here's the thing, right?
You're telling me that this took my daughter? Yeah, so like anyway.
So yeah, she's just like she's just a girl, she's just a kid. Listen, so the only way so like witches eat people. Like that's what they do, and they preferably love to eat children because they taste better for them. And the only way you can be taken and eaten by a witch is unless you're pledged. And basically it's basically like you mark them so that they know who to go after. That's what a pledge is. So that's when like the term pledge has been tossed around here. And so they love to eat children. And so once they're pledged, they're taken down to a burrow, which is where like it's basically like it's underground, and after all the witches go, and that's where you find all the witches. They're all underground, their burrows, and essentially and they like to roast. When you're captured by them, they kill you by roasting you very slowly. So then the in the place called the cauldron, where they go to cook the little boys and girls. And so essentially they have humans that work for them essentially that are basically like humans provide them with their food source, and if you pledge someone you get something in return, which is either an increased lifespan, the cure of an illness, or like make someone fall in love with you. That's how she explains it. It's because witches essentially like they have their own version of like science or like alchemy. It's not like magic, but like it's some sort of like alchemy or science where like they can do all these things to people like magic and all like these extended lifespans, whatever, what have you. So essentially that's the whole deal with the witches. And she's like, you know what, test the noose real quick. And I love it. She shoots him in the fucking ear. He's like, I don't want to fucking do that shit. Wow, got it. He's like, okay, fine, I'll fucking do that shit. Leave me alone. It's fucking funny. And then it transitions back to Sailor. She's trying to climb out of this cave, the cave that she's in right now in the cauldron, essentially. And then like while she's saying it's okay, I'm the greatest slayer of all time. I'm the greatest slayer of all time. Like I'm awesome. I can do this. Like I love how what?
She's a liar.
She's a well, I mean, but like it's again like it's using what Charlie told her to like boost her confidence, which I think is very cute. So I think it's adorable. I think it's so adorable. And it's so essentially he's like, okay, so after giving the spiel, the witch says, okay, now it's like, what do we do now? Like, why am I making this news for us? Like, what do you mean? Because we need to hang someone. What the fuck do you mean, bro? Come on, get with the damn program. So essentially, she's like out of my way, and the noose is essentially for her. and essentially she came in to Litchfield to essentially try to burn this. She's a witch hunter. That's what Claire is. She's a witch hunter. Who is a part of this organization, like this organization called the Irons, essentially. And she was tasked to burn to go to Litchfield and burn down this borough, but her advisors were hesitant on it because there are these other breed of witches called the Rooted Witches, and they're like the bigger ones. And we're gonna see what they'll look like at them later on in the other issues. But essentially, what you saying? Okay, like the rooted ones, that like the rooted ones are down. That's why they warned me not to do this. But fuck it, I came here anyway. And essentially, she basically said saying it's like I want you to pick up where I left off, and you get to save your dollar in the process, so it's a bonus. He's like, why can't you do it? Like, it's too late for me because I got this thing called mites, and essentially, it's a parasite that witches grow in their hair, and then if a witch tags you with a mite, then it burrows into your brain and gives you thoughts that you want to kill yourself. And essentially, she wants Charlie to make the news for her so that she could die on her own terms. Because even if it wasn't gonna happen to her now, she would have done it committed suicide even in her sleep, which is fucking wild. So I said, yeah. So essentially, like she tried going down to the burrow, and that's how she got the mite on her and all that stuff. So essentially, she said, okay, here's the thing. I'll give you this fucking bag. In this thing is a map. This thing called Stink that I've created, where it's a concoction. A concoction I created where if you put it all over yourself, and it basically like masks your scent because witches have a high sense of smell. So it masks your scent, and here there are these so that's what you're gonna use to go inside. It practically makes it invisible, and she basically puts her the noose on, and she says, "Okay, I love how she says you do get your daughter out, which you won't, but still, like she has no confidence that he even is gonna get her out of there. I think it's so fucking funny. But she says, okay, like my name is it's like when you're done and you get her out, go find the irons. It's like my name's Clara, like Poirot. It's spelled French. She's like, I was 7 when they got me. I was a girl when the witches got me, and they ate my legs. And you know what I did? I crawled out of there and I burned their house down. And then she fucking hangs herself, and she dies like a fucking OG. And it's
with her legs on the bottom.
Yeah, with her legs on the and then she fucking kills herself, and I think it's one of the most badass things ever. I was like, damn, son. R.I.P. to fucking Clara, she a real one. So then Charlie's literally like this is the page where he's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like he's just like so funny. And it transitions back to Charlie, back to the Ferris wheel. Taylor's about to climb up, and he's saying Taylor's like, I'm too high, like I can't. Oh, you're fine. Come on, get up there. Keep going. And it transitions back to them. She has a bottle of the pledge. She has some other various goodies that will be explained in the next issue. The stink, and then the mom Lucy comes in and is essentially saying like, "Oh, Charlie, what the fuck happened? Like, why did you leave?" And he's like, "This woman I met, she said sailors in a hole in the fucking ground in the woods, but like she's really not believing him." And it's really Jock Snyder does this. Like he juxtaposes the conversation that's happening with Lucy and Charlie to what the scenario is happening in the amusement park. And essentially, while in the amusement park, Charlie basically got Sailor to go to the point so high to the point where it's fucking dangerous. And at the same time, it also just posts fucking Sailor climbing out of the fucking burrow, and you see the witches. And then what happens is Sailor goes so high that she accidentally like slips up, falls and dies. Then Charlie grabs at the last second, and then at the last page that we get, it transitions back to the present day where Charlie's speaking to Lucy. All this, well, we have to go there and find Sailor, and then Lucy's like, "Who's Sailor?"
Yeah.
Correct. So, thoughts on issue 4?
The one thing I wrote from this, like the one that I had, was like, if you really simplify the movie Cabin in the Woods, this is like Cabin in the Woods, where they kill the ancient ones and sacrifice them.
Yeah. I like this issue a lot. It's a lot more dealing more with like why Charlie, like the thing that Charlie regrets the most, which is obviously getting so drunk before he almost killed his almost got her daughter, almost killed his daughter essentially, and yeah, and we get more of like Clara being an OG, being a gangster, dying like a gangster, like a real one, being all badass, explaining all the witch lore and stuff. I think the witch stuff is very interesting, in my opinion. I love the way Scott Snyder, his interpretation of these witches. I think it's so interesting.
The
And,
two eyes on the skull, like on the
Yeah.
same side, is so gross though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because when you see the witches, like for artists who doesn't have the book, and I'm sorry I don't have any images to show, but like their eyes are like all on one side of their face, and it's very fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good issue. So any
And we get the mom being sus.
word, the mom already forgot Sailor. So
Mom
the
is
witches,
sus. But mom has sus.
the witches have already enacted their plan already. She's already forgetting.
Mom is sus. Mom is the imposter.
Mom is the imposter. But yeah, I think it's a good issue. It's a good one. It's more. Now we're actually cooking now. The cooking's actually commenced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on issue 4?
Honestly, I kind of like the ancient take on witches.
Yeah.
Because it's like you always like thought, if you like usually like in the past and stuff, it's like if you want like a potion or something good to happen in your life, you go to a witch and like they give you something in return and stuff like that. It's like that, but like the only sacrifice is like an actual life. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, word. And I also forgot to mention that like the witches, they're attracted. They say like they smell, like Clark said, they smell like desires from people, or like something that they can smell what people want. Like so like if like you're desiring something, that's how the witches come to you, and that's how they get you to pledge someone so that they can like to get their food. I think it's interesting. So yeah, so that's what so I mean it questions what to deal with Sailor then. Why did someone pledge her or whatever supposedly?
Sus.
Sus. All right, so issue 5. And I love the splash for issue 5. Also, I'm just gonna say that the covers for this fucking comic are fucking great, by the way. This is my favorite cover in the whole fucking thing. I love it. It's very Blair Witch, and I like it.
It is. It looks like an eye, and I really like that.
Holy shit, it does! Oh fuck, look at that.
Oh, Mikey.
That's even better. I like that. But yeah, we get a splash of it's a pain assessment to like those pain diagrams, what I think is very interesting. And essentially like it transitions to present day. Charlie is literally coming at us like, what the fuck, like stop right now, like did you see what I said, like Sailor, our daughter, like come on now, because she already fucking forgot. The witches are already doing their thing. He's like, our daughter's missing, blah blah blah. Like, come on, you have to remember her, Lucy. Like, this can't be happening. Like, he's just freaking out because like what Clara said is actually happening. Like that she's forgetting, that they're starting to forget, but he remembers her still. And essentially, Dr. Officer Petal comes in and is like, "Oh, Officer Petal, thank God you're here. Like, please tell my dumbass wife that that our daughter is still missing, and you know she's out there in the woods, and we have to go find her." And he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever you say, man. Calm down, come on down, bro. It's all good." So he thinks it's like giving the audience is like, "Yep, back on the sauce." That's what he's implying, that he's back to drinking.
Back on the sauce.
He's back on the sauce. I'm gonna put a comment from McLovin because he's
what is Robert?
Oh, wow.
He's putting
Have
some
you been
comments
posting stuff this whole time and you haven't been showing it?
No.
That's awful.
Yeah, he's been saying he's been saying tits or get the fuck out. That's what, or get the fuck out. And he's like, only Mikey's tits. And then he's saying, Hannah's looking at the comic as if she can read. And he's like, recognize my quips. Hello, is this thing on? He's like, I just showed up. Hi, McLovin. Thanks for being an asshole.
Yeah.
Not usual.
So then he thinks that Charlie's back on the sauce. And then he literally is just like, and Dr. Officer Patel's like, Charlie's looking at the list of names, and one of the list of names that Clara gave him, because he's with all the civilians in Litchfield that are in on the Wytches, and in big ass bold letters, it's just Petal, like on the side of the fucking
Petal, yeah.
Like, it's so funny. And then Petal's just like, you look like you got a list of names there. And he's like, oh yeah, yeah, it's just like, oh, I see you got a list of names there. He's like, oh yeah. So Charlie just goes at this man and fucking tackles him. It's like, okay, shit's popping off. The gun goes off, and then Charlie basically grabs the gun and is like, you're gonna take me to where the fucking Wytches are. And he's like, hey, anything you say, Mr. Rook. He's just egging him, and I think it's so fucking funny. Like, and then it transitions back to Sailor. Because after what Clara explained, the Wytches like to roast people in the cauldron. So like it's getting very hot and Taylor's getting very lethargic. So then she's sweating and basically she takes her glasses, rips. I think it's very smart. She takes her glasses and breaks one of the lenses. So she has like a little blade to like defend herself with. So she's being a little crafty, and I love how she's saying, "Oh, I can do this. I can do this. I'm gonna fuck up these Wytches," and I think it's so fucking adorable. And what? What?
Yeah, it's adorable. We love child murderers.
Yeah, she's gonna defend herself. It's gonna be great. So then
She's blind though now.
Yeah, she's a badass now with her little blade. Transitions back to Charlie, and then like that was my favorite part of the book because the fucking cop is just egging this man, and he's like, Charlie has the gun on him, and he's like, it's hopeless, right? Like, come on now, what the fuck you doing, man? Come on, you can't fuck with the Wytches, bro. They're above us. They're our superiors, man. Come on, just join our team. Join Team Wytches. It'd be dope. And like, literally, like. He's like, oh, so you're from the, so he immediately thinks that like Charlie's immediately like with the Irons, even though Charlie just found out who they are. He's so you're with the Irons with that bald crazy lady, or that bald hunter or whatever. It's like, come on, man. It was like the witch killers or whatever. Come on now. It's like they're above. You don't have to be taking teams here, Charlie. Just join. You know what the right side is. Come on. You can with the Wytches, you can get whatever the fuck you want, man. And he's like, you want to know how old I am? Like, you want to know how old I am, Charlie? You can cut me in half and see the rings in me. I'm that old. And it's like...
That's so disgusting.
It's great. Yeah, he's like, I got rings in me. Like, it's so weird. And,
I hate cops.
Yeah, honestly. So moral of the story, mission 5, ACAB. So then he's like, you can get whatever you want, man. He's like, really, is it even worth like giving them people? Come on now, they have no decency. And it's just like, you gave them my daughter. Like that's fucked up. He's like, come on now, we're all selfish creatures here, man. Come on, that's what humans are. We're all selfish bastards. And it's just like, he's like, listen, they can. I'm gonna say it right here. What I said last time. He said they can smell it in us. They're attracted. Like, it attracts them. They're attracted by like our desires and like what we want, like our desperation. And then essentially fucking Charlie just hits him in the back. He hits him in the fucking face with the gun.
He pistol whips him.
He pistol whips him. And he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bullet right through your fucking face, I swear to God. And he's just like, he's like, we're already here, man. Yeah, it's like, you're already here, man. And he's like, look up, man, come on. And he looks up, it's this fucking awesome image of this big ass tree.
Very curvy tree.
Yeah, really nice. I thought it was a willow tree, but I'm like, it's not a willow tree. But
I can see why you would think it's a willow tree. It looks like a willow tree without all of its like leaves and shit on it.
Yeah.
Also, McLovin said you're welcome for calling him an asshole. Yeah, so it transitions back to 2011. The accident just happened with Lucy, and she's in the hospital. Charlie. So we're assuming that I think this, like, the whole situation with Sailor and with the Ferris wheel, like this the accident just happened around the same time. So essentially, like, Sailor's like really upset with her dad because like she like wants her dad's trying to comfort Sailor and being just like, no, your mom will get up soon, don't worry. Like, it's just she's a trooper, she's strong, we're gonna get through this. And Taylor's like, no, get the fuck off me after what the fuck has happened. And okay, I also love this about the next page. It transitions back to Charlie and the cop, and I love how the Officer Petal explains this, and it is like, okay, Charlie doesn't believe the whole shit with the fucking tree, is like, and it's just like, and he's like, if you're fucking lying to me, I swear to God. And he's like, listen, he's like Ginger. He's like, what? And he's like, Charlie, pay fucking attention, man. Come on. Ginger's a fucking plant. It's a root. It grows from the fucking ground. They don't grow off trees. The witches fucking mark their burrows with this oddity, with this strange oddity with the tree. I think it's so fucking cool. And which is also, he said it's as a nod to, like, why the trees, why the witches live in a gingerbread house.
Canceling
so fucking, yeah. I love it. So then he explains, oh, what is that? Is that fucking stink? What you want to put in your fucking mouth too, man? Cover all of yourself, put in your mouth so they can smell your breath. Just egging him. I love it. And he's like, oh, what is that?
Stink.
Yeah. He's like, oh, what is that? Fucking bullets? Oh, what is it with rat protein? Because witches, they're very sensitive to like animal proteins, and rats have an extra bite to them, so it actually hurts them. And it's like, oh, what are those? So what was it? Flares? Oh, sulfuric ones, I think. Yeah, because the witches, if you put it up to a witch's face, it burns their eyes and they go blind. And like, he's just egging him, but like explaining stuff and how to beat the witches. Like, it's very weird, but I think it's very funny. And then he's like, listen, like, you can't escape once you get in there, like in the cauldron. You're gonna be fucking dead, man. Like, that's where your daughter is, because they like to cook up their young. They cook up these children. And fucking Charger shoots him in the fucking leg.
As he should have. He was getting annoying.
He was. He shoots him in the fucking leg. Then he proceeds to take off his shirt, and then takes the stink, and then starts to cover the stink all over his chest and his armpits and his back, everywhere. Then he proceeds to take the stink in his mouth.
And in his mouth.
And his mouth and all over his face. Yeah. Then he proceeds to go in until he climbs the fucking tree and goes into the top. I think it's the top of the tree. I don't know where he enters, but I think it's like the top of the tree, or is it like a burrow? I don't know.
It looks like the top based on the way that the branches look.
Yeah, and it makes sense because we just have to get in there, so it has to be big enough.
It seems like it's like a hollow tree.
Yeah, that goes like. But I love the panel where like he's going inside. He has the rope, and it's like thousands of feet down. It looks so. Yeah, it's so cool. Mm-hmm. So Cindy transitions back to Sailor and Charlie. Charlie essentially saying, oh, like, Sailor's saying, like, literally, like, is like, you're not, like, Dad, you're not here. You haven't been here for a long time, implying about, like, his alcoholism. And it's like, you haven't been here for weeks. And, like, literally, like, is like, you can't, is like, literally, like, don't you think I wouldn't change who I am if I could? Like, don't you think that, like, the fact that I feel like I have fucking like a poker going inside my head and like I could change my brain, I wish I could. And like, and then Taylor, like, he tries to kill, like, Sailor, like, I don't need to, but it's like, shut up, Dad, get off. And, like, he's just trying to, and it's so sad. I'm like, it's so sad, like, because she doesn't feel like he understands her and like doesn't want her because of her anxiety, and it's so sad. So then he's in the transitions back. He's in the cauldron. He's in the burrow. And like he's just going deeper and deeper, and like it's getting hotter and hotter. And I love this spread of like the witches just feasting, and it's implied that that's fucking Reggie.
Where?
There's like a girl or something hanging on the back wall that you can see. It's like chained up.
Holy shit! But
oh my god!
Yeah, she's like
there's intestines falling out of her. I didn't even notice that.
Wait, what?
Oh shit! I do see. Yeah.
It's like kind of small. She like blends in.
But like you see, I love like the sound. They like the sound. It's so creepy. It's so creepy because all the witches make that sound, and for audience, they'll make that sound. It's so like creepy and shit. But I would have no doubt they ate Reggie by now. I mean,
100%.
It is what it is.
And like, what happened to Charlie's shoes?
Yeah. So then they're just fucking like, it's just very just gross panels of them just eating and mawing off of like a person that you're just consuming, and it's so fucking gross. But and then Charlie like steps on a stick and they stop and then start like hissing for a bit. they just go back to what they were doing, and it's just like so fun. Like I want to see this in live action. I think it would be that scene right here would be a cool scene to see in live action. If there's them just like feasting, then like a silence stop. It's just pure silence. They just go back to what they're doing. I think it's so okay. But anyway, Trojans is back, and like it's back to the fight in the hospital. And it's like it's because of you, and it's like he's like you, my dad. He's like oh like you just been a freaking idiot. Like you've been like a missing person for weeks, and it's like and like Charlie's just like listen, and it's like I've been a bad father. I know that. And it's like he's like and he's like you know what the saddest thing is like I wish I wanted to, I wish Taylor was like I wish I wanted a big sister just so that you could like you could have another kid and just like that who wasn't like me. And I'm just like Taylor, no, like this is so sad. And Charlie goes back Charlie back in the burrow, and then like he's just going deeper and deeper, and it's like you can hear the officer in the background. It's like it's getting warmer. I can feel it. And you see Charlie just going deeper. It's like, yep, it's getting warmer.
Yeah, it's a weird back and forth of like Charlie walking through and the cop knowing.
Yeah.
Like,
and the cop like
feeling
at the same time.
Yeah. It's really weird.
And then it's just like transitions back to another hospital scene. And then like I love like it does a lot of juxtaposition from like the cop, the hospital, and then Charlie going through the burrow. And it's just like and I love how like I love like he says like you're there's like sailors like I love you don't like I wouldn't like I like your bravery, your intelligence is like your anxiety and your panics and just all of it is like you're just the kid I ordered. And I think it's so fucking sweet. It's so sweet. And it's just then he gets further and further in, and then he finds Sailor in the area, but she's very weak because she's been in that hot boiling cauldron for like a long time. And then it also transitions like once they find each other and Sailor wakes up and sees that like it's her dad. It cuts to another a spread of her father, her and her dad back in the hospital, just embracing each other after he said that. It's so fucking sweet. Like how like showing that they're together in the past and in the present. It's so fucking nice. And yeah, and it transitions. The last page we get is like oh you're burning. The cops like oh you're burning hot now, and I bet that fucking stink is burning right off of you. And it just like. And then we just see like the cuts back to the fucking witches just sniffing, and then issue 5 ends, and it's like, damn. Yeah, like, cause I was while I was reading, I was like, why is he saying you're warmer? I thought he was saying like, oh, you're getting warmer, like like as in, like getting hot and cold like throughout the burrow. Like nah, like they reveal like this thing's gonna rub off. I was like, oof, okay.
No, I really like when he jumps down like the one hole though, and he yells "sail" because I just think of that vine that's like.
Yeah, but any thoughts on issue 5?
No, 5. Yeah, you're right. My fault.
Yeah.
It was really a bit more grotesque than we've seen in the other ones so far.
Yeah.
A lot more violence happening and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell it was like really the plot was getting thick.
Or thick.
Did we mention his tattoo yet? Did we talk?
Oh
about
yeah,
that?
no, we did not.
Tattoo.
Yeah, it was a
Ferris tattoo. But it seemed. I wonder if he got it after or before what happened, or like I don't know.
Why would he get it before?
I don't know if he got it after himself.
No, because he did say that like he used like while he was drunk, he used to go. Him and Reggie and his friends back when they were kids used to go to this park and like
I mean, yeah, I feel like the event had more significance compared to what he did as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I love the carnival. I'm gonna tattoo it on myself now.
Yeah. I love the tree. I love that thing with the tree. I think it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, the tree's really cool.
Yeah, the fact that like
the whole like double page.
Yeah, the tree, just like even just the lore about the tree, like how like they mark it with ginger. I think it's so fucking cool, and the whole Hansel and Gretel thing. Yeah, but yeah, I like this is like things are heating up, and I love it.
This is the entree.
Honestly. And so any more thoughts on issue 5?
It was good.
It was good. Very heartwarming moments from to Charlie to Sailor. It's very sweet. That thing was like you're the child I ordered. I was like, damn son.
Honestly, it doesn't
so heartwarming.
Doesn't even feel like horror at this point. It just feels like a really sad like father-daughter type of relationship story.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do for, like, how far would you go to save your child? I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like that. Yeah, it's so good. And if you like Charlie's trying to like in a way like he's using this event of like to rescue Sailor as a way to like to redeem himself for what happened.
Because when you grow up with an alcoholic parent, it's like obviously it was gonna take a toll on the kid, like heavily, and that's what prompted that conversation. And now it's like what Hanna said, it's like focusing on like their relationship and everything, and him trying to repair it, and how far is he gonna go to save her to really like show that he's sorry for all of that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, but where's the mom? Sus.
Another issue 5 though, the mom's when the mom's in the hospital, Sailor's also upset because the mom was pregnant and she lost the kid in the car accident.
Yeah, that's when she said that like I wanted to have a sibling because like so you wouldn't have to deal with a child that wasn't like me, and I was like, oh.
Yeah,
it's sad for someone to say that because like when someone says that you kind of forget like how young Sailor was when she said that. She was like at least like 11 or something.
Like,
yeah,
so like
for sure. Alright, so issue last issue Emily, you're talking about that one?
Heck yeah. All right. So this one, it starts off with them still in like the burrow and stuff, and the dad's like, "We're not gonna die here. Like we're gonna get it out." And so they start climbing out of the cauldron, and they're going, and they come to a fork in the road, and it's like, okay, let's go right. And then they come upon this little crater thing that they have no idea how far it goes down. So the dad lights a cloth on fire and throws it down. And that's where the absolutely massive witches are staying.
Yeah, the rooted ones.
They're at least 3 times the size, they say, and they're like grown into the wall. Like they are a part of this cave.
Word.
It's
and
so
like
gross.
The art is just so cool. Like,
dude, it's fucking terrifying. I did not like seeing this.
No, it's very like very goosebump heavy because like when you just like throw something down just to see, like if that was me and I threw down like something lit like down a hole just to see, if I saw things, people, faces, whatever the hell on the side, I'd be like, all right, we're going, let's go. Like, wow, like that's so terrifying. Oh God.
Yeah. So they're kind of in shock from that, and then the other smaller witches come up behind them and start attacking them, and the dad shoots them with the gun and lights the one flare, and then they start running out, and they find some roots on the wall, and they're like, okay, maybe this is a way out, and they end up climbing through there, and the daughter's like, come on, and dad's like, I'm right behind you, go ahead. And at that point I was like, oh shit, is dad even gonna make it out? But they go through, and they come out through one of the holes in the tree.
Yeah.
Like how the other people got sucked into the holes. They come out through one of those holes.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I really like the panel of the fingers reaching out through the hole after they came out of it. That was really cool.
Because it's a really good way to like, because it's very ambiguous, like why the people were in the trees in the first place.
Yeah,
and to find out that like it's technically an exit, or like these they lead to other trees. That's why you always see them in the hollows. And it's very interesting.
And I really like that. And then they start running, and then it cuts to the previous year where they're at one of his book launches, one of the dad's book launches. And he's like, oh, I'm supposed to be promoting this book. They're in a bookstore. And he's like, instead, I'm gonna like talk about like this story instead. And he's like basically like talking to his daughter. The mom is still in the wheelchair at this point. So this was after the accident, after he decided to clean his act up. And then it switches back to present day, and the dad and Sailor get into the house, and the mom's there, and she's like, what's going on? And he's like, we need to go, don't grab anything, we need to go now. And then everyone that you'd pretty much seen in the comic already, so the police officer, the like head nurse, the friend from school,
Melina,
they all come out from the woods.
It's the Fusa! It's the Fusa! It's the Fusa!
They're all like, hey, yo, bitches, like, you were pledged, like, time for you to get got.
Like, this pledged.
It's time to get got.
But so, and then Charlie's like, go into the basement, Sailor, go get the shit that's in the basement. And then the mom hits Sailor over the head, and you're like, oh shit, the mom was sus. And there she's not
she fish slapped her.
She got
and she fell down the fucking stairs too.
Yeah.
Like, it just
always on stairs. She's out. And then the mom also shot the dad in the leg.
Poor Charlie.
And Charlie's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And the mom's like, oh, it's simple. Like, I'm saving us. And she stands up, and it's like, holy shit, she can walk.
Shit.
And like, and then it explains like the backstory of like the little boy from the beginning that knocked out his mother was actually her great grandfather. Yeah. Family. So she's like, oh, this happened to me. This happened to like my family. And then like, I'm writing it because he escaped it by pledging his parents when the parents pledged the child originally.
Yeah, he was born to be pledged. Like, that's what he was.
Yeah, he was born to be pledged. And then, and Lucy, the mom, is saying that Charlie called the witches to them back in their old town with all his drinking and stuff. They could like smell it on him, and they decided to come for it. And so when Lucy was on her way to her parents' house, she ran over one of the witches in the road. It wasn't a deer. And that's when we found out that like it actually was a witch that she hit. And so she was trying to like figure out like a way to like get out of all this. And the only way to get out of it was like to give them Sailor. Sailor was supposed to be a pledge. The mom tried to stop Sailor getting pledged by pledging Annie instead, and that's why that's why Annie got in the first issue. But the witches said, "Nah, fam, we still want Sailor." And so she's like, "Oh shit." And so the mom was like, "All right, fucking have her. You know, we can always make more children." And she tried to say,
no, honestly, that's what she said.
I know. That's exactly what she said. She's like, no, like, we'll forget her.
She's like,
it's
we'll forget her.
Yeah, like, it's all right. You won't feel this pain, bro.
And then mom's like, look, I already packed up all of her stuff. Now just take this. And the mom's like, I tried to act like I forgot. I tried to get you to do it. She's like, someone must have gave you a blocker because the rag that I wiped your wound with was supposed to like erase his memory.
It was the cocaine.
And then the cocaine was the blocker that saved him, that Clara gave him. But she's basically saying that this is how it has to be. If not, they'll always come after them. And she's like, please just do this. We can start a new family. We'll forget our old one. It'll be like it never even happened.
So
and then at this point, Sailor comes up from the basement and she's like, what the fuck is going on? What?
Mom, you can walk.
And then also at this point, the witches are coming out of the forest. Everyone is on like their hands and knees being like, pledged is pledged, pledged is pledged,
pledged is pledged. It's so creepy.
Yeah, that part's real. I love the whole the chanting pledge.
I just want to say something real quick. That page where like the page that you talked about, like with the panel of like the witches' hands come out of the hollow. I love that page where it's like just a dark forest and just eyes.
Yes,
because like you took our pledge, you die now. It's so good when it comes to like the horror.
Okay. But so they're all coming, all the witches are coming into the house. They're like breaking in through the windows and stuff. The mom, dad, and daughter are like, oh shit, we're fucked. We gotta hurry. The dad's like, here, take this. I love you. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Just get out and be safe. And then the dad takes the pledge stuff, which is what marks the people who are pledges to tell the witches to attack this person. He takes it and he rubs it across his face. He smacks his wife in the face.
He was like, bitch.
Then he charges head first into the witches. They get Charlie, they get Charlie and Lucy. Sailor's screaming her head off. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, my whole family.
I love what he says though when he charges in. It's like the best thing ever. It's so sad and it's so like I'm trying to like get what he says. Like, oh yeah, because I'm Charlie Rook, father of the greatest slayer of monsters and mythological beasts of all time. And I'm just like,
heart.
It's
whole heart.
my heart. Like it's
So
so Taylor's
sad.
just being emotionless, just like, yeah, whatever.
I don't have an emotional attachment to these people.
It's so good.
But then there's a quick cut back to when Charlie's back in the bookstore giving his whole speech, and he's talking about like how home can be scary and you can like get really lost for a really long time, but like luckily someone like can bring you back. He's like, I got brought back, like Sailor brought me back. And he's like, sometimes like you have to like do the hard stuff and you come out stronger than you were before. And so Sailor's in the basement now. She's hiding in the basement. And she's giving herself a pep talk. She's like, all right, you can do this. And she crawls out through the window that's in the basement. And then her friend, was it Melina?
Yeah, Melina.
Melina. She's standing there with like a fucking like iron wrench or something. And she's
yeah, she has like a fucking crowbar.
Yeah. It's like, surprise, like, pledge is pledge, like, gotta kill you now.
She's like, I told you were a big deal here, bitch.
Yeah. She's like, I told you meant something. And then Sailor's like, all right, fuck you, I pledge you. And she sprays her with the pledge juice stuff, like a hose.
This is wild. Like, she
She said Uno reverse card.
Like all of them.
Yeah,
all the people that come out of the woods, they're now being sprayed with the pledge juice and getting attacked by the witches. And you see Melina's face like covered in the gook.
Yeah, and she's
God as the witch comes out.
Yeah.
Word. And like I love like how, I mean, because of Charlie, I feel like with whole like giving that like whole monster game that they do together, like give her confidence. Like she got hella crafty. Because of it.
Charlie prepared her for a zombie apocalypse, and this girl is ready now. She's ready. But then Officer Petal comes up behind her, tries to put a chokehold on her. She pulls out the little piece of broken glass that she has from her glasses and slits him across the throat with it.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And she hops in the car and she's trying to start it up, and you get another quick cut back to her dad giving the speech, still directly talking to Sailor at this point, saying that like, this is like what makes you brave and stuff. More than anything, you make me brave, is what he says. And then he calls Sailor the bravest person that like he knows. And the panel is really cool because there's other faces in it, but they're either cut in half so you can't see them, or like the mom's face is completely just blacked out. And it's Sailor's the full focus of this panel. He's
which I love.
To her. And then there's the next full page, and it's of Sailor driving off. And he's like, and this is still, there's the overtalk of like the dad and stuff. And he's saying, this story, the whole thing, it's about you. It always has been and it always will be, because you're my hero, Sail, in every sense. And it's like, this is really
so sweet.
It's her story. And the last page is just the dad still talking at the bookstore. And it's like, and that's it, time for the next chapter. And then it goes to black. But I really like that, because I really like how you might think that like this book is like about the witches. It's literally even called Witches. But I like how the speech at the end really makes you think that's more about Sailor. He's like, this is Sailor's book. This is the story of Sailor.
It's really like when you go deeper into it, it's really about her just overcoming her anxiety. But like not so overcoming, because that's something you can never actually get rid of. But it's her getting better with it, coming to terms with it, and figuring out ways to calm herself down and to handle it and control it better.
Yeah, word. But also, that's also like a big theme in the book. But the other theme is just Charlie learning how to be a father, like a good father.
It's for both of them, really.
Yeah, and it's so sweet. I love Charlie's like whole arc. I think it's so good. The fact that he just sacrificed. He was like, "Yo, fuck my wife. I'm gonna sacrifice."
I'm
me and her just to like let my daughter live, and I think it's so sweet. It's so good. Like really, when he said like when like Sailor's his hero, I was just like, it's good writing. It's really good writing. God damn. But any thoughts on issue 6? Is that all you want to say on issue 6?
It's a very good ending.
It's really good ending.
Yeah, it's a very good ending. I like how it like ended like kind of on like a happy, hopeful note.
Instead of a dark one.
Instead of just like, or even just like, instead of just like everyone dies and Sailor gets out, like even instead of just that, it's like a happy message, like you got this, you can do it.
And
I don't know if you mentioned this, but like Charlie told her to go to find the irons, which is where she's driving to.
Yeah,
So,
driving.
and as well, and told her like don't go anywhere there's any trees, because if there's trees, the witches will get you. So yeah, I love the scene where she's just pledging. She puts pledge on everybody. It's so fucking awesome.
I really like when he slaps his wife in the face with it.
Yeah.
I think that's incredibly like so funny. He was like, "You get some too."
I pledge you. I pledge all of you. Ah! It's just fucking awesome. But I really hope that, because he basically says on with the next chapter. I know that Scott Snyder has been working on that scene for the past couple of years. So I don't know if this is going to continue with Sailor or if it's going to be
Sailor is going to be involved in book 2.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay, dope. So
I read that, and
I'm assuming. Yeah, so I'm assuming it's going to be with the irons and her finding the irons, because as we talked about this off live, but there's another a one shot called that we might talk about next week called Wytches Bad Egg. And it's all about the irons perspective, and I loved that a lot.
Yeah, and Sebastian's gonna be a lot in book 2 as well.
Issue 6 is dope. I love it. I love issue 6 a lot. It's a good issue. Good ending. Very touching, very sweet, very awesome.
It was also kind of really interesting to see that like literally everybody in that town was like in cahoots with the witches. Like they were getting something from the witches.
But and also like I think like Clara hinted that like essentially anywhere there's witches, towns will be affiliated with them in some way. Either the whole town or like just certain people, you know?
Yeah.
Basically majority.
Yeah. So any overall thoughts on the whole issues book?
It was really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
I liked it a lot, and I like the overall message about it.
Yeah. Good ass art, man. Horrifying art. Like
beautiful.
The art is really good.
Like Jock's art is like I'm a big fan of his work. Like his art is very like it looks very rough in a way, like very rough when it comes to like the pencils and the inks. But it's rough with a purpose, and it's very interesting, and it's. So
they're just like they kind of just look like loose sketches, and like there was no like official line art on them.
Yeah,
but it works.
I honestly think he just draws with his ink. That's it.
Yeah, he probably just really goes with it, and like that's it. Yeah. Like and like, but it's good though.
Yeah. It's really good, and the guy who does the colors, I'm gonna look what is his name real quick. Matt Hollingsworth kills it with the colors. Like, they're so good.
Yeah, it shows like the process in like the back of the book and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How he does it.
It's very dope. This is a great story. I'm not a horror person, as if our audience doesn't know that, y'all people in the thing know that I don't like horror, but like this is like a really good introduction for me when it came to like horror comics. When I watched like Comic Pop talk about it, so then it's also like it ended on a very lighthearted note, and the whole message with like Sailor overcoming her like having confidence in Charlie being a father is just very touching and very sweet.
And Lucy not being a mother.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the whole lore with the witches again, like which you said, Taylor, with the whole having more ancient, going with a more ancient aspect instead of just like doing the typical like modern interpretation of witches. I think is very cool. I love the tree shit. The tree that shit I think is baller. Like I don't know why I like it so much. Yeah. Like, it's a good book.
I really like how on like the main cover, I didn't understand it at first, but now that I read it, obviously I do. I like how the tree looks like it's bleeding.
Yeah.
First I was like, why is the tree bleeding? But now like reading it, it's like, oh, people are stuffed in these trees.
Yo, Jock, that's one of my favorite things about the book. The covers for that Jock does it so well done.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Very, very dope.
Yeah, like they're so good. And it's just like, oh, so good. But do you want me to like tell y'all Scott's inspiration on the book? I think it's very cool.
Heck yeah.
Okay. So essentially Scott Snyder grew up in New York, in Manhattan. So his parents wanted him, growing up, wanted him to have, more exposure like outside of the city. So they bought a house in Pennsylvania in a more woodland area. So where they would go and take vacations there. And while he was going on these vacations at his house, he made a friend, a next door neighbor, where they would go hang out. And this is like not our time where like they used to like go out into like the woods like by themselves. Like, you know, things like my art teacher like said growing up in the 80s, parents did not care, like just go in the woods, like with no supervision. Like, you know, they expect you to come back. So they would, you know, go on like various adventures in the woods, and like you know, they would pretend that, you know, like they were like monster hunters and stuff like that, you know, finding cryptids and all that other cool stuff in the woods. And they found like they used to hang out in like an abandoned meat truck from the 30s, which is in like the first issue of the comic. At the very end, you can see like a picture of the meat truck that they found. That used to be like their base of operations for like monster hunting and all that cool stuff. So then one day, while they're playing around, walking in the woods in their abandoned meat truck, his friend sees something in the distance and is like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And then Scott turns around and sees nothing. And then Scott's like, "What happened?" She's like, "What's the deal?" It's like, "Oh no, I thought I saw some creepy thing just pointing out, like looking at us like straight out of the woods. It was very fucking creepy." It says Secret Trap is something very tall and angular.
Gross.
And essentially they just brush it off, like, okay, let's go back to the house, you know, we don't want to be in these woods very longer, it's getting dark, we're gonna be eaten alive. But anyway, so the house in the wood adventures with his friend in the woods was a very important like moment of his childhood growing up. And so essentially that they still have the house to this day. He is the sole owner of the house now. When Scott proposed to his wife there, they still bring their children back to this house in Pennsylvania to this day. And one time, he decided to take a walk. He hasn't had contact with his friend. His friend, you know, he faded out. You know, I've lost contact with him. And one time, he was walking around, and in the same woods, and just walking around, and then notices something very long and angular and creepy with these eyes poking out of the woods, but leading behind a tree. He says, "What is that?" And it just goes and it just disappears. And then he was just like, "Huh, like there's something there," but like not like a witch, like, "Oh, there's a witch here," oh, like a story to tell. And that's where he got the inspiration of like that these witches in the woods, and like they pledge people and all the cool stuff. So like, yeah, that's the whole inspiration behind Wytches. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's like a real experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it feels right all along. But it's a nonfiction book.
Yeah. it's nonfiction. There are actually witches out there in the fucking woods. Yeah, but overall, yeah, this book is great. Snyder, great. I already knew he was a great writer because I liked his Batman and all the other cool stuff. I'm a fan of his stuff. His artwork, very well done. Very, very cool concept. I'm never gonna look at I remember telling Hanna like about this story before while we were in quarantine, and my backyard in my house back home is just woodland area.
No, that's how mine
is.
So
like ever since I watched the comic book explain about witches, the witches creep me out 10 times more than they did before, and I like can't look at a burrow in a tree. Like, I'm sorry, a hollow in the tree the same way again after reading this book. Yeah, but
Mikey, comments.
Comments. Is this set with Mikey remembers that comments? This is funny. But this is a good book. Anyone want to rate it? Anyone has a rating for it?
I give it 8 sushi rolls out of 10.
8 sushi rolls, great. Hanna, Emily?
I give it a 6 out of 7 because the scale only goes up to 7.
Of course.
Oh,
God. Hanna, what do you give the book?
I'll give it 8.5 witches out of 10 witches.
Nice. I'll give it like around an 8.5 to a 9 because I really liked the themes with Charlie and Sailor. It was so touching. It was so nice. Mm-hmm. It was good spooks. Good spooks.
Yeah.
I only deduct points for flash forwards and flashbacks. I hate that.
Yeah,
I feel like Snyder tried to structure it like a horror film, because in horror films,
I hate it in horror films too. I hate it. I hate it so much because there's a lot of times where I don't know, and I'm like, what? And then people have to explain, oh, it was a flashback, and I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah, I only deducted points for basically that same reason. There is sometimes that the book had me very confused, and I had to go back and read it. That might just be I'm stupid because I can't process things very easily. But the date definitely did help.
7.
He gives it a 7.
I was out of 7 because that is the only scale.
Yeah. I mean, after seeing how like he structured this book as a horror, I want to see how would this translate in like live action.
Oh,
I think they're making a movie.
I would love.
No, they're not. Are they actually?
Yeah. When I was trying to look up a synopsis before this, they had it that they were like in the process or something.
That's terrifying.
I'm so excited.
Though. I
would love to see
not a pandemic still.
Yeah. Wait. For real. That actually sounds dope. I'd
watch it. Horrifying, but like I'd watch it. But
yeah.
Really
seeing live like witches like in live, oof, that would haunt me.
Yeah,
I would be on that so quickly.
Yeah, they look
so. I feel like they would look kind of.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, it really is.
That's so. Wait, who's making it? Hold on, wait, who's developing this?
It's gonna be R-rated. It's gonna be. I think it's an animated movie.
No. It says Michael B. Jordan.
What? No.
Wait. Oh, I see this.
Michael B. Jordan could be adapting Scott Snyder's and Jock's Wytches as a movie.
Holy shit.
Oh wait, no, I think
Brad Pitt is gonna be one of the executive producers.
Oh yeah, because it was production company. He's been trying to get that off the ground for a while. Holy shit. Okay.
Wow, that'd be pretty dope, but also terrifying.
This movie would feel like an this movie would feel like an A24 film to me, though, in my opinion. But I don't know. That's dope. No, that's getting a movie. That's sick. Mm-hmm. I'll watch it because I love the book. So
four of us have to go see it together.
Yeah, we'll go see it when it comes out in 2035 or whatever the fuck. Yeah, but that's Wytches, everyone. Thank you for whoever watched. For watching it.
I didn't say this. I shouldn't find this funny. But in issue 1, when Annie calls her sailor whore, I think that is the funniest insult. And I should not find it funny at all because Annie was a horrible person. But sail whore, top-notch insult for her name.
Taylor, I'm going to start calling you tail whore.
You call me tail whore, fine. But it was very, very funny to me, and I definitely laughed about it, but it was not funny.
Oh yeah, Christian says it's 7 out of 7.
Okay.
So he agrees.
So
people,
and we enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, it was very fun to read. If y'all want to read it yourself, find it at a comic book shop or a Comixology. Support this book.
Support your local comic book shops.
Support your local comic shop.
You guys want to talk about we might do Bad Egg, the one shot next week.
I love that.
I really like Bad Egg. So
that was better than this one.
Yeah, Bad Egg is actually better than Wytches.
Better.
Like the volume 1.
I've heard that a lot. That's why I really like
it. Yeah, it's because Bad Egg is actually a prequel to the sequel that he's making.
Yeah.
Which is called Wytches Volume 2, Bad Egg. So I'm very but he's been working on that for a while now. I don't know if it's ever gonna come out, but I hope so.
It was supposed to come out in they were supposed to work on it for 2019 as but obviously that didn't happen. But that could be for multiple reasons. It could be coming out next year or something.
Yeah, okay. I imagine that a lot of stuff has
a lot of stuff has happened in this past couple years.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of projects have been pushed back hella far because of this horrible year.
Yeah, and plus he's working on another independent project that he's kickstartering. So I don't know if he's ever gonna get down to doing Wytches 2. I really hope so. But so thank y'all for watching. Next week we'll probably do it the Bad Egg Halloween special on Halloween. Probably a little bit earlier, not at night, but Halloween. So check that out. And yeah, thank you so much. Get home safe. Sorry. Don't lick swings. I can't do Christian's intro that well because he does it so well, seamlessly. Wash your hands. Don't punch people in the face. Don't pledge people. Use hand sanitizer when you pledge people.
Respect your local witches.
Respect. Yeah, what Taylor said. You know, wear your fucking mask, wash your damn hands,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll catch you next week. Peace, people. Bye. You know what I'm saying?